Um, there is so many little facets of these subjects, and I think, so many words in our culture are being redefined and being distorted and conflated with other things. So, for example, censorship is not censorship. It is deleting misinformation or, preventing hate speech from being provided. It's very seldom in my 66 years that I've ever come across a hateful person, right? I've come across disagreeable people. I've come across many people who disagree with me. But because there's a disagreeableness, doesn't mean it's hateful, and it certainly doesn't mean it's misinformation. But you can see the path we're going on. Our culture now, Canadian and Western culture, now believes safety, security is a responsibility of the state, and that your safety and your security requires you to surrender and cede your freedoms. Because indeed, that is the only way you will ever be safe, is to be free. Free to speak out, free to leave, free to pursue your happiness, free to seek enjoyment. That's because you can look at the alternative. Look at the alternative of people who have no freedom and ask yourself, are they feeling safe and secure? And, a good example of this, of course, and I think it mirrors the track that Canada is on with some significant but important nuance and differences. But, in the USSR, their first attack was against the moral code. They went after the church. The Orthodox Russian church, and churches, let's get rid of that. Then they took away the freedom to speak, the freedom to be mobile, the freedom of expression. And were those people in the USSR safer or more secure because they didn't have that freedom? And then, of course, the ultimate part of that is the actual government itself, that it did not, unlike a democracy where we want everyone to fully participate and fully be involved in the democracy, well, there was no point to be ever involved in democracy, and that's in their form of government in the USSR. And that's where we're heading, folks. That's where our countries in the West are heading, okay? To believe that if we zipper our mouth, if we muzzle ourselves, if we allow the government to provide for us and take care of us, like we build our own prisons in that regard, just as they did in the USSR. And so you really have to, we're on a trend line, and it looks like this, and it's pointing down pretty quick, right? And the only way that trend line is going to deviate and move is if people understand why we're on that trend, why it's important to know the difference between right and wrong and have the freedom to oppose it. And then lastly, to have to put in the efforts to make our democracy work for us and not just for the corporate and political interests that it does serve. It doesn't serve anybody here in this audience. Our political system does not serve a single individual here. It serves a political party and corporate interest, and You are the commodity. You are the one that control makes them money. So it's not a difficult thing, but you have to, before we fix a system, you have to understand how it works, and most Canadians don't understand how our system works. Thanks.